Hey guys, welcome back to your third lesson. So in this video, we're going to talk about vector multiplication in component forms of vectors. So this is referred to as scalar multiplication, and it's just a fancy name of saying, hey, we're multiplying one, two, or more vectors. So the goal of this video is to go over vector components and then do some scalar multiplication. So just like how we can write a point on the coordinate system as, x and y. So for example, I can have the point 2 and 6. You can do the same for vectors. And when we're doing this, the only thing that we need to keep in mind is that the notation is going to be slightly different. So instead of using parentheses, which is what we did here for our regular points, for vectors in component forms, we're doing this kind of like triangular bracket. So just some notation to keep in mind. And then I'm also going to make a video and go over how we can go from a point into vector components. Okay, so that's coming up, but in this video we're just given some vector components, and then we're gonna perform some operations with it. Okay, so we got two examples here. I mean, this is a relatively easy lesson. So suppose vector v has a component of 0 and 6, so essentially x and y. Let me get rid of that and then grab a pen. What color should I go with? Let's go with blue. And then so that's pretty much your x, that's pretty much your y. And then the vector c is given the components of 4 and 1, and then vector p is given the components of 5 and 1. All right, so we're going to calculate 2 times vector v plus 5 times vector c. So that's essentially doing a scalar multiplication. That's all we're doing. All right, so this 2 is also the magnitude of vector v, which I'm going to make another video and go over what vector magnitudes are. I mean, with vectors, there's just like a whole lot to cover. So be patient, and then that's coming up. All right, so we're doing 2 times the components of vector v. So that's basically, what color should I go with? Let's go with green, actually. So we're doing 2 times vector v, so that's 2 times, and then the components of vector v are going to be 0 and 6, and then we're adding this to the components of vector c. So that's going to be 5 times vector c, so that's going to be 5 times. The components of vector c are 4 and 1, okay? And then essentially, we're going to distribute this 2 into each component of your vector, and then you're going to do the same thing with the 5, all right? So you're going to get, let's see, you're going to get 2 times 0, which is going to be 0, 6 times 2, that's going to give you 12, and then plus 5 times 4, that's going to be 20, and then 5 times 1, that's simply going to give you 5. And then all we're doing, you're adding your vectors together, which is relatively easy. First term goes to first term, and then the second term, you're going to add it to the second term. All right, so let's see here. So 0 plus 20, that's going to be 20. And then we've got 12 plus 5, and then that's going to give you 17. All right, so after performing your scalar multiplication as well as your vector addition, that's what you're going to get. So that's going to be your new vector components. And then for the second example, we're pretty much taking this guy, and then we're simply subtracting that from vector p, which has a component of 5 and 1. All right, so let's do that. All right, so we know what this is. So that's going to be 20 and 17 subtracted from 4 times vector p, which is going to be 5 and 1. All right, so a little bit of work to do, so I'm going to keep writing this 2017, and then subtract it from 4 times 5, that's going to be 20, and then 4 times 1, that's simply going to be 4. All right, so now we're subtracting this component. So again, first term goes to first term, second term subtracted from the second term. So 20 minus 20, that's going to give you 0. And then 17 minus 4, that's going to give you 13. All right. And that's your second example. So Not a whole lot into this topic. You just have to remember how to write your vectors in component forms. Just, remember that triangular brackets. And then I'm also going to make another video go over vector magnitudes, which is, something really important. And then I'm also going to explain how we can take a point, just a regular, point, so like 2 and 1, and then how we can turn that into a vector component. All right. That's going to be it for this video. I can't really think of anything else. So hopefully this is going to help you guys in Calc 3. As always, if you have questions, drop me a comment, and then please leave me a like. It's really going to help out my channel. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, good night.